Hello, it's me. So, the Epstein debacle keeps rolling down the hill, threatening to explode like a Simpsons crashed car. Um, yes. So, News Nation are interviewing Tim Burchett, who I believe to be a sincere, straight shooter in DC. And as we know, there aren't many of those. So shout out to News Nation and their coverage, or for their coverage rather. Pop over there and show them some love. Let's see what Tim Burchett has to say.
One Republican congressman predicted back in February that we'd never learn the truth about what really happened to the disgraced pedophile.
What are we going to learn? Just today,
Nothing.
the FBI found 1,400 new files. Now, I don't know. They're as crooked as a dog's leg, as we say in East Tennessee.
Files, lists and lists.
I don't know. No, just no.
Congressman Tim.
You can hear the skepticism in his voice. I mean, from the outside looking in, I'm sure I'm not the only one. We were all literally, when this was coming on, when Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Pam Bondi were saying respectively, we're going to get the client list, we're going to bring these people to book. They've been indulging in illegal activities with minors. No cost is too great. The American people are going to have their pound of flesh. Let's face it, we all went, yes, finally. The American government are going to walk the extra mile. They're going to take some heat and they're going to just crack on with this and bring these people to justice, thereby showing us that we could trust, up to a point, the American government, that they were going to try and earn that trust from us. And then, in moving forward, the world will be a better place. By virtue of the fact that these, as Tim Burchett calls them, dirtbags, would be subject to the law and hopefully behind bars. Let's carry on.
Burchett of Tennessee, member of the House Oversight Accountability Committee, joins us
now.
The
You
confident
poor man.
smile of a man who can say, "I told you so," is what I see on your face, sir.
I can take any pleasure in it. I want to bury those dirtbags, but I'm afraid I was right. I've seen too much of it. And every time they're supposed to release something, they never do, whether it be UFOs, JFK, RFK, this. It's just...
There's a lot of dirt.
It's the nature of the beast up here.
Who are the dirtbags?
I think your second, third level tier people that are in a lot of these departments that we never...
And this is the thing about political accountability. The last 15, 20 years saw the powers that be over here in the UK and in the US, and I'm sure in other regions across the world, build political systems which shielded individual ministers and senators' aides or others who are making decisions in the White House or certainly in DC from any accountability by virtue of the fact that you didn't have a right to know who they were. So that the decisions would be made for ill or for good. And if the decisions were for ill, then they could be addressed, technically speaking. But if there was a crime, I mean, how many people have you seen brought to book in the last 10 years for these things? Again, people who are living in strata above where the rest of us live as normal human beings, just, living our lives daily, trying to get by, people in positions of power in these august surroundings, it's a whole different world for them. And this situation illustrates that more than ever. And poor people, look, I'm just a nobody. Tim Burchett has the dubious honor of being a senator trying to get things done in DC. So let's carry on.
You have staffers and things like that on the Capitol Hill that leaked things, that stopped important pieces of legislation. And I just feel like you've got to, I guess I'll write about it in my book if I live to tell that day. But
if he lives to tell that day.
I think the files existed at one time. I think they were destroyed in the previous administration. And I think...
and that wouldn't surprise me. But if that's actually true, then what on earth did Pam Bondi have sitting on her desk? She was asked on more than one occasion, do you have the client list? To which she responded, yes, it's on my desk. We're looking through it now. However, in the last day or so, she said she didn't mean files when she was asked about files. Sorry, she didn't mean list when she was asked about a list. She meant files. Is that an easy mistake to make? I'm not so sure. Either which way, the client list never existed, which I don't believe, or no longer exists, which I'm more inclined to believe. But what I actually think is it exists, but not for us.
If they'd ever had anything on Trump, it would have been out day one.
Agreed.
Under the Biden administration. And I don't. I think there's some very prominent people. There's Hollywood people. But I think,
and that's an interesting point. The Biden administration, if they'd had anything on Trump, it would have been out day one. And the newscaster said agreed. And I don't agree. Everyone believes, or a large proportion of people believe, that Republicans and Democrats at the very top are vehemently opposed to each other on every level. And I don't think that's true. Politics is a dirty game, but it's also a game of convenience. And you find your enemies and your friends wherever you can, wherever it suits you, whenever it suits you, rather, for whatever reason that suits you. So, speculation time. What if outing Trump, day one, would have actually led to some uncomfortable truths for the Democratic Party as well? So whereas I respect Tim Burchett as a politician, which I can't say for many men or women in the political circles that I view and commentate on, I'm not sure he's correct here. I'm not sure at all.
There's world leaders too. And would it have caused...
I believe what he said about
disruption around
world leaders and film stars.
But I don't really care. I want to...
Do you think there's a theory... Is there a theory perhaps that none of the... or not none, but maybe some of the people on the list didn't do anything wrong, and this would be a terrible guilt by association to put their names out and just to put everybody's name out? No one's been charged.
How can that be a thing? Surely that's what Pam Bondi was looking into the files for. Because it's not a list. Surely that's the idea. There's an investigation during which they will investigate and determine who was indulging in criminal acts and who wasn't. Guilt by association is only something that the populace at large deals in. People like me speculating on what's going on here. And of course, maybe to a lesser extent, but still people like Tim Burchett, because it's a very exclusive list of very exclusive people. And you would have to imagine that only a few individuals would know the full contents of that list, if it ever existed.
With the crime, put all these people's names out, and suddenly, because they had an interaction with Epstein that was completely benign, they're labeled as one of his buddies?
What's Miss Maxwell doing?
I mean, look at those pictures there. Look at all those files. Look at the smiles. I believe that these people are in earnest, sincerely so. They were going to do what they said they were going to do. However, when they got into power, something changed. They had a phone call from someone, or they were called to a meeting somewhere, and whatever happened during that phone call or in that meeting changed their view, compromised them personally on a moral level. How heavy must that have information been to make you publicly contradict yourself? Put you in this position where you're literally tied up in knots when you're speaking to the press. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, this is me signing off. Look after yourselves.